I want you to imagine for a moment that you're walking down a long road and you're carrying a heavy backpack. At first, it doesn't seem so bad. You take a few steps and the weight feels manageable. But as you continue, mile after mile, the straps dig deeper into your shoulders, your back begins to ache, and every step becomes harder than the last. Now imagine that every regret, every fear, every negative thought you've ever held on to is sitting inside that backpack. How far do you think you could go carrying all of that? How much energy would be left for the journey ahead? If all of it was being drained by the weight of what you refuse to let go of. That is exactly what happens when the mind is crowded. We hold on to mistakes we made years ago, arguments that ended long ago, or opportunities we missed that can never come back. We replay these things over and over, as if reliving them will somehow change the outcome. But it never does. Instead, it keeps us stuck in the past, while the present passes us by unnoticed. The truth is, many of us are walking around carrying invisible backpacks that are far heavier than we realize, and it's not the world slowing us down. It's the baggage we refuse to put down. Think about how many times your mind has been so full that you couldn't even think straight. Maybe you lay in bed at night with thoughts racing so loudly you couldn't sleep. Maybe you sat down to work, but your focus was scattered in 1,000 directions, none of them productive. That's the cost of a crowded mind. It robs us of clarity, it steals our peace, and it convinces us that we are weaker than we truly are. A cluttered mind is like a fogged-up window. No matter how hard you try to look out, the view will always be distorted. We live in a world that constantly demands more of our attention. Notifications, comparisons, pressures, expectations. It's no wonder so many people feel overwhelmed. We consume more information in a single day than some people did in an entire year just a century ago. And while information can be powerful, it can also be paralyzing when it floods our thoughts without order or balance. The weight of a crowded mind is not only in the memories of the past, but in the noise of the present. It is the endless chatter that leaves us too exhausted to focus on what truly matters. But here is the deeper truth. Much of that weight is chosen. We may not realize it, but we are the ones deciding what to carry. We are the ones who hold on to the words someone once said, who replay our own failures, who cling to fears of what could go wrong. And if we are the ones holding on, then we also have the power to let go. The problem is, we rarely stop to ask ourselves what belongs in our minds and what doesn't. We just keep filling the bag, throwing in more until it overflows, and then wonder why we feel so tired. Imagine instead what it would feel like to set that bag down. To stop carrying the weight of yesterday's mistakes. To stop clinging to the need to control everything. To simply release the noise and stand lighter, freer, ready to walk forward with strength. The mind, when emptied, doesn't lose its power. It gains it. A calm mind is not a weak mind. A calm mind is a sharp blade, cutting through confusion and fear with ease. That's why the first step to creating a powerful life is learning to clear out the clutter that clouds your thinking. When your mind is crowded, your energy is divided. But when your mind is clear, your energy is multiplied. A crowded mind drains your spirit, but a free mind fuels it. Every step forward feels possible again, not because the road became easier, but because you finally decided to stop carrying what was never meant to be carried for so long. Life was never about how much you can hold on to. It's about how far you can go when you let go. There comes a moment in life when you have to ask yourself a difficult question. What am I still holding on to that is no longer serving me? For many, the answer is not simple. because we often cling to the very things that hurt us. We hold on to anger, to pain, to people who have walked away, to situations that are long over. It feels almost natural, as if letting go would somehow mean we are weak, or that what happened didn't matter. But the truth is, letting go does not erase the past. It simply frees us from being chained to it. Letting go is not about forgetting, nor is it about pretending that the experiences didn't shape us. It is about deciding that those experiences no longer have the right to control the direction of our future. Think of it like this: when you keep holding on to a rope that is burning your hand, the pain doesn't stop until you release your grip. Yet how often do we continue to squeeze the rope of our past, convincing ourselves that maybe if we hold on just a little longer, it will somehow hurt less. It never does. The pain ends the moment you decide to let go. Some people believe that holding on shows strength, but in reality, it is the opposite. Anyone can cling to something out of fear. True strength is in releasing, because it requires faith. Faith that you will heal, faith that you will rebuild, faith that the future has more to offer than the past ever could. The freedom of letting go is not just emotional. It is spiritual, mental, and even physical. The body feels lighter when the heart no longer carries weight it was never meant to bear. The mind feels sharper when it is no longer clouded by replaying the same old stories. And the soul feels freer when it is no longer bound by chains of yesterday. It's not always easy, though. Sometimes we confuse letting go with losing. We think that if we release someone or something, we are left with less. But in reality, letting go creates space, and in that space, new opportunities can enter. Imagine your life as a room. If every corner is filled with old furniture that is broken, dusty, and no longer useful, where will the new furniture go? Where will the beauty of new beginnings fit? Letting go clears the space for the blessings you haven't yet received. I remember once meeting someone who carried so much resentment toward a person who had wronged them years ago. Every conversation circled back to that betrayal. Every achievement they made was still overshadowed by this one wound. And I asked them, "Do you realize that while you continue to carry this resentment, the other person is living their life, free and unbothered? The only prisoner here is you." That's the irony of holding on. It doesn't punish the one who hurt us, it punishes us. We drink the poison, hoping the other will feel its effect, but only we suffer. Letting go is not an act of weakness. It's an act of courage. It's choosing to unclench your fist and open your hand, trusting that life will place something better there. It's choosing to walk forward without dragging the chains of what once was. It's realizing that freedom is not found in control, but in surrender. We cannot change the past, no matter how much we wish to. We cannot rewrite what has already been written. But we can decide how much power the past will have over us today. There is a peace that comes when you release what you were never meant to carry. A peace that doesn't need explanation. A peace that simply allows you to breathe deeper, sleep easier, and wake up ready to embrace what lies ahead. That peace is waiting for anyone who dares to let go. And in that peace, there is freedom. The kind of freedom that allows you to laugh again without hesitation, to dream again without fear, and to live again without apology. Because life is too short to waste in the shadows of what you cannot change. The freedom of letting go is not the end. It is the beginning. There's something remarkable that happens when the noise in your mind finally quiets down. Suddenly, what once felt overwhelming begins to make sense. What once seemed impossible starts to look within reach. That is the power of clarity. When your mind is no longer cluttered with doubts, fears, and distractions, you begin to see life in a way that feels sharper, cleaner, and more purposeful. And with that clarity comes focus, the ability to direct all your energy toward what truly matters instead of scattering it across 1,000 meaningless concerns. Think about light for a moment. A light bulb can brighten a room, but when that same light is concentrated into a laser, it has the power to cut through steel. The difference is focus. The mind works in the same way. When it's scattered, when it's distracted, it can shine here and there, but never deeply enough to create change. But when the mind is clear and focused, it becomes unstoppable. It can cut through obstacles, fears, and challenges that once seemed immovable. Focused energy can transform dreams into reality. The problem for most of us is that we confuse being busy with being productive. We fill our days with endless tasks, running from one thing to the next, convinced that constant movement means progress. But movement without direction is nothing more than chaos. It's like rowing a boat in circles. You're expending energy, but you're not going anywhere. Clarity allows us to see the destination. Focus ensures we row in a straight line toward it. Together, they give us both vision and power. Some people live their entire lives without clarity, because they never stop long enough to ask themselves what they truly want. They chase what others expect of them, or what looks good on the outside, without pausing to ask if it aligns with their heart. But once you empty your mind of all that noise, you begin to notice what has been there all along, the quiet voice of your own purpose. Clarity doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers, and you can only hear it when you silence the distractions. Focus then becomes the discipline of honoring that clarity. It means saying no to things that do not align with your purpose, even if they are tempting. It means training your mind to resist the pull of comparison, the endless scroll of distractions, and the false belief that you need to do everything at once. Focus is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most, with full commitment and energy. That is where real progress is born. I once spoke with someone who had spent years chasing opportunity after opportunity, never staying with one long enough to see it bloom. They had talent, they had ambition, but they lacked focus. They were like a gardener planting new seeds every day, then walking away before giving them water or sunlight. Nothing grew, not because the seeds weren't good, but because attention was never sustained. When they finally chose to focus on one seed, to nurture it, to be patient with it, the results were extraordinary. That is the difference clarity and focus make. They turn scattered effort into meaningful growth. Distraction, on the other hand, is the silent thief of dreams. It doesn't always come in the form of something bad. Often, it comes disguised as something that feels urgent, something that steals just a little bit of your attention here and there, until one day you look back and realize years have passed, and the vision you once had remains unfulfilled. That's why protecting your clarity and focus is one of the most powerful choices you can ever make. It is guarding your energy, your time, and your purpose against anything that does not serve them. When you begin to live with clarity and focus, life stops feeling like a random series of events. Instead, it feels intentional. Every step has meaning. Every choice aligns with something greater. You no longer waste time chasing everything. You build your life by choosing the things that truly matter. And when you do that, there is no limit to what you can create. Because a clear and focused mind is not just powerful, it is unstoppable. There is a beauty in life that can only be experienced when you stop carrying what weighs you down. The truth is, Many people are alive, but very few are truly living. They wake up each morning, go through the motions, and fall asleep again, repeating the same cycle, without ever feeling the fullness of life itself. And the reason is simple. They are carrying too much fear, too much regret, too much of the past. They are weighed down by what could have been, by what others think, by the belief that they must control everything before they can enjoy anything. But the moment you learn to live light, you discover that living fully has been within your reach all along. Living light does not mean living without responsibility. It does not mean abandoning dreams or ignoring challenges. It means carrying only what truly matters and refusing to let unnecessary burdens rob you of joy. It means traveling through life like a free soul, aware that every day is a gift, not a guarantee. Too many of us wait for a perfect moment to live fully. We wait for the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect bank balance, the perfect opportunity. But perfection never comes. What comes is today. What comes is this moment, right here, right now. And the question is, are you going to live it fully, or are you going to waste it waiting for a future that may never arrive? When you begin to live light, you see how much unnecessary weight you have been carrying. It's like cleaning out a room that's been cluttered for years. At first, you don't even realize how much space the clutter takes up. But once you remove it, the air feels different, the room feels brighter, and you wonder why you waited so long to let it go. Life is the same way. Once you clear the heaviness from your mind and heart, you suddenly have room for laughter, for peace, for love, for the things that truly mattered. That is when you begin to live fully, not when everything is perfect, but when you make space for life itself to flow through you. Living fully means being present. It means actually tasting your food instead of rushing through it. It means listening when someone speaks instead of thinking about what you'll say next. It means noticing the sunrise, appreciating the breeze, smiling at small victories, and finding meaning in ordinary moments. The truth is, happiness is not hidden in the extraordinary. It is woven into the fabric of the ordinary. The problem is that a heavy mind misses it, always distracted by what's wrong, what's missing, or what's unfinished. A light mind notices it and cherishes it. That is the difference. Some people think living fully requires grand achievements, world travel, or extraordinary adventures. While those things can add richness to life, they are not the foundation of it. Living fully begins with gratitude. It begins with choosing to see what is right instead of obsessing over what is wrong. It begins with appreciating what you have while working toward what you desire. It begins with letting go of fear and embracing faith. Living light teaches you that life was never about accumulation. It was always about appreciation. And when you shift from holding on tightly to living openly, you finally see how abundant life truly is. There is a lightness that comes with forgiveness, a lightness that comes with acceptance, a lightness that comes with choosing peace over conflict. And when you carry that lightness, your presence alone can inspire others. People can feel it when someone has learned to live light. They radiate something different. They don't need to prove themselves constantly. They don't need to chase validation. Because they are already whole, and in that wholeness, they live fully, not halfway, not conditionally, but fully. At the end of the day, what will matter most is not how much you carried, but how deeply you lived. Did you laugh enough? Did you love enough? Did you notice the little miracles happening around you? Did you release what you couldn't control and embrace what you could? These are the questions that define a full life, And the answer begins when you decide to live light. Because only when you let go of what weighs you down can you rise high enough to experience the life you were meant to live.